All right, the graph for a quantitative variable, the main graph that we do is called a histogram. And it is like a bar graph, except the bars touch. All right, so we're going to do a hand graph of the divorce rate, and then I'm going to show you how to do it in Statcrunch, which is where I got this graph. All right, so I look at my divorce rate. I have values between 2 and 6, basically. So I'm going to make this 2, 4, oops, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. And basically, you know, each bar, my class width is half, so my bars are going to have a width of half. So I'm going to have some values right there. And then my biggest frequency is 11. So I'm going to make this guy 12. So half is 6, and this will be 3 and 9. And this is actually, each one of these is a state. And so this is the number of states with those particular rates. And down here, this is my divorce rates. All right, so between 2 and 2.5, I've got 1. All right, so here's 1. And between 2.5 and 3, I have 9. So we're gonna go up here, 2.5 to 3. Oof. Between 3 and 3.5, I've got 8. 3.5 to 4, I have 11. 4 to 4.5, I've got 8. 4.5 to 5, I have 4. 5 to 5.5, I have 3. And 5.5 to 6, I have 1. So there is my hand-drawn. These bars are supposed to be equal width. This should look like this. That's what I got. All right. So this is my graph of the distribution of divorce rates. All right, so I'm gonna make my screen bigger so we can see what a real one looks like. Now this one on the right, I did with Statcrunch, and I'm gonna show you how to do that in Statcrunch. Now, one of the things I mentioned on your notes is how to load the data from one of your homework problems. So if you want to draw your graphs or do calculate summary statistics, things like that, from the data sets and on the homework, what you have to do, there's 2 things. Sometimes the data is in a table and it says first, click on the icon to view the data. So you click on this thing, right? And then once you're in here and you see the data, in the upper right corner, there's this little 2 boxes. That is, you click on this and then you can open it in Statcrunch. And some of you have seen me in class, I've clicked on it and opened it in Excel. So occasionally I like to open my data in Excel too. But for when it comes to histograms and summary statistics and your quantitative graphs, you definitely want to do it in Statcrunch. It's much better. You can do some of those things in Excel, but it's a lot tougher to do that. So Statcrunch is a statistical software that is designed for doing statistical analysis. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead. I already have my divorce rates loaded. And this is what it looks like once you have your data loaded in Statcrunch. You can see here's my divorce rates. Let's make that a little bigger too. And this, you can see there's per 1,000. All right, so if I want to do a histogram, it's a graph. So I do graph histogram, and I just select the variable and hit compute. And there we have it. So there's the graph, what it should have looked like when I sketched that graph. And you can see that it has the frequency here. Now, the class width, it just happened to pick the exact intervals that I picked, right? But if we had decided to split our classes into a width of 1, we could still do that. So if we go options edit, you can click options edit to go back, but you can see I've got frequency. If I wanted to do the relative frequency, which is what I did for you, you can click and change this to relative frequency, but I can start at 2 and make my width 1 if I want to, and I can hit compute. And then now I have a class width of 1. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 classes instead of 8 classes. And when you change the class width, it changes what the graph looks like. But going from frequency to relative frequency, it looks the same. All right, so this graph looks the same. All right, basically when you change from frequency to relative frequency, you're just changing what's on the y-axis. These are proportional to each other. The counts and the relative frequencies are proportional because to get these counts to relative frequency, I divided all of them by the total number of states that were in this data set.